Welcome to the March 12th bhyve production user call. We have Alexei, Andrew, Hans, and myself, Michael, so far, and we will get to EDK2 in a second. It sounds like Hans is making progress on the virt.io SCSI reviews. Thank you, everyone who is jumping in with reviews. And we were briefly discussing how Hans is definitely making progress, but needs to make some decisions on how to handle CPU sets, groups, levels. Where did we leave off? It was there's a risk of including a feature that
What
is not hardware supported and bad things may happen. So what should that look like? And I'm curious, what does QEMU KVM do?
um,
Go ahead, Andrew.
one of the things uh, we covered that it presently does not do. Hans had said before we got on call that it presently does not actually check that your hardware supports what you're asking it to, so it could lead to things not running at some point.
Hmm.
Um, but what I was pointing out was that if I remember correctly, at least on the Intel side of things, um, the feature sets are not always well defined. So things that are V2 may not be necessarily in every V2 CPU, which means
Yeah, but
if we're just doing V2 rather than individually defining what those supported
um,
things are, we need to be careful.
so these architecture levels are basically just saying if you want to call it V2, that is not like any Intel CPU version or anything. It just says okay, it has these features. Like V1 corresponds to the initial AMD K8 systems, and then there's basically groups of features that were added later, and they usually come together. And so if a CPU supports all of those features in that group that is defined for V2 or for V3, then it supports V2 or V3.
Oh,
And the same is with
interesting.
V4.
My
This
my
isn't
point,
really anything
Let him finish.
that you can find in a manual or anything. There's a or maybe there is, but it's not like it was designed like this from the beginning. It's just an afterthought that they had when it became an issue with virtualization. So the
my
problem that I'm currently seeing is that when I want to enable a feature for the architecture level that the hardware doesn't support, I should actually check that and make sure that doesn't happen. So basically, you said V4 and the hardware doesn't support it. You're being told that the hardware doesn't support it. That's pretty much the point of having this for live migration, because
Hmm.
then when you want to migrate and the target system doesn't support your architecture level, then you're out of luck, and you probably want to know that in advance,
Yes, indeed.
or at least you want it to fail gracefully when you're trying to. Um, the other thing is with the setting of raw feature bits, all of them or none of them, or some of them. Then I don't do these checks. So for instance, I can enable a processor serial number, even though no processor since the original Pentium 3 had this serial number
Oh,
feature.
I see. Okay, so you can, it's a
And
manual
and
mode.
yeah, and in this
Okay.
case, it doesn't matter because it's completely done in the CPU ID stuff. It's not like an instruction set that could be missing or anything.
Hmm.
So basically, when it comes to the features outside of those feature sets that we have in the architecture levels, it's basically will have to check every bit, or maybe most of those bits at least, and figure out what do they actually activate. Is it something that can be emulated in a reasonable way by the VM, or for the VM rather, or is it something that should just not be allowed if it's not there on the hardware?
Interesting. Are any of those blockers, or you're just working away?
Those aren't really blockers. It's really just how do I put it? When I develop it and make it work in a very simple way, I realize, okay, this is something I need to do,
Hmm.
and then I
Sure,
wonder
sure,
how to
sure.
do it. And the way I implemented the architecture levels right now is it's basically using behind the scenes, it's using everything else that I have for turning individual bits on and off. And so I was wondering, okay, how do I check it? And do I check it always? Do I allow the user to do something like set a processor serial number while not allowing him something else like enabling an instruction set that the CPU doesn't have?
Hmm.
And the more I think about it, the more I realize that actually bhyve will have to know a certain amount of things about about the actual CPU ID values and their meanings, which originally was something that I tried to avoid. So that is a bhyve user space. The kernel already does that because it had to emulate CPU ID already for years.
Hmm. Well, my gut instinct is that most users want a lowest common denominator CPU for mindless
Yeah.
migration and then burn your fingers mode where you manually set what you want for be it development purposes or otherwise.
Yeah.
And well, if you make an implausible CPU, that's up to you, not bhyve. So
Yeah.
I think you're on the right track, and the fact that you're doing the infrastructure for either is fantastic.
Then one other thing that we've been talking about that can be done with this is overriding the hypervisor identification.
Yes, hint, hint, yes.
Um, that is fairly trivial to do just using the feature as is. I want to add a user-friendly way to do it. Um, Here also the thing is, how far does this setting of hypervisor personality go? Should the rest of bhyve then behave like KVM when I set KVM, or is it just behaving normally but identifies as KVM? These are some of the things that
That's a very
need
good
to be
point.
Trying to
considered. Completely
trying to
emulating something like KVM or Hyper-V is probably out of the question.
Right, of
exactly
course.
that's not reasonable.
Yeah. But then the question is where exactly and when exactly do guest operating systems even depend on the hypervisor type? And
Right.
what assumptions do they make if they see one versus the other?
Usually what we've seen is for the case of like Windows, it will just do something sane if it's Hyper-V or VMware, and will act insane if it's anything else.
Interesting.
Can you be more technical than insane, like regarding uh, uh,
Usually, um,
paravirtualization
determining
or something?
what it does. Usually, it's what it does for what timekeeping systems it pays
Yes,
attention
fair
to.
enough. Yeah,
That's the big thing.
which is a different conversation, but yes. So initially, I think it's treated more like a manually set feature in which to gut instinct to achieve that category of feature of handing it customized information rather than a lowest common denominator CPU, you are probably setting other things manually too. But um, I'm wondering if we have precedences from other systems on how to handle that.
To me, at least, this um, misidentification of being another hypervisor, for lack of a better way to phrase that, is really kind of the same reason that you would alter your user agent on the browser. Usually you've got a website that is misusing that field rather than identifying the features that are available. And the same thing is usually what's going on when you want a hypervisor to identify as something else.
It's generally a blunt instrument check for somewhat silly reasons rather than a, a,
Exactly.
a basket of features, a portfolio of features. So yeah, which but also begs the question of maybe it should just be super simple, irregardless of CPU ID, because that's actually a kind of different category. So yeah, maybe that should be handled in a simple manner where it's almost like a user definable feature Because having it see like, was it bhyve, or I think it shows up as a certain number of characters in a weird, unintuitive way currently. Um, Although, do we have a quick little index of what those IDs are from the different popular hypervisors, from Zen to Hyper-V to VMware to you name it? Just out of curiosity, what's the scope of this? So question, what are the popular IDs?
That's certainly not a question I'm ready to answer
You
as
don't
we're
have a Zen
talking
system
today.
within reach? Anyway, go ahead, Hans, was it? That was an X, Xen. Okay. Well, keep up the good work, Hans. That is fantastic. And again, I guess reach out, especially if they're blockers or you need some more decisions like that. I can see how these are borderline decision requiring issues.
Well, yeah, I also have the FreeBSD Foundation developer chat where I can ask all the questions I may need to get answered. So,
Have they been helpful in
well,
that regard?
yeah, basically,
Great.
I guess
Cool.
with other questions that I had, like why is the current build failing again? Or is this
That's a
Panagon on
valid
problem?
question.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's
Were
completely a valid question.
Yeah, were those questions answered?
Yeah, usually they are.
Okay, cool.
So
Oof.
that's really a pretty good and a nice way to work.
Ha. Well, then, dare I say this is about as good as it gets in these circles. So keep up the good work, and I look forward to your progress. Uh, Anything else from your department, Hans?
Um, Not really, I believe.
Cool.
Should be all for now.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad you dropped in with an update.
Oh,
Go
I
ahead,
may have a question. I don't know if anyone here can answer that.
please.
So, the question is if you do GPU pass-through with a Nvidia card, and I know that Corvin has done a lot of work on that, but actually we don't need a display. We just need it for compute. Still, the Windows drivers seem to have problems. Is
Well,
that
you've
something
come
to be
up with the
expected?
perfect segue to Alexei giving EDK2 updates because he's been working on GPU pass-through. So, Alexei, are you
Oh yeah,
available to
I
talk?
really
Okay.
com-
You've
okay,
come
I
to the right
really
place.
wanted to say that
Yes, go ahead.
the VFR compiler of EDK2 seems to really like failing to build randomly if you use more than one job to build the base tools. I have no clue why. So we're gonna be building base tools with only one job, I guess. Because let me explain better because I just said this without much of context. EDK2, when it builds, it first builds a set of utilities for building the actual firmware source code, and one of those utilities is a compiler for some not proprietary, just some language they have, and that compiler it randomly fails to build whenever you have more than one job building it. Like it tries linking all of the output object files before all of them are compiled yet.
I mean, that
I
sounds like you're sorry.
yeah, I don't know why is it doing that. So
But that's EDK2 or NVIDIA
yeah,
pass-through?
that's EDK2.
Okay, so
That's
have you spent any time with NVIDIA
No,
devices,
I don't have
Alexei?
an NVIDIA
You don't
GPU on
have one.
hand.
Okay, so Hans, describe the exact problem you're having because Alexei might have some insights based on his experience.
So, none of the recent work from Corvin, well, it's not that recent, but none of that has ever made it into Illumis. And I have someone who's trying to do a GPU pass-through of an NVIDIA card into a Windows VM. And I don't know exactly what the problems are that they are facing. It's just that apparently it's not working. The NVIDIA drivers aren't interacting with it. But we created a Linux VM on the same system, and the Linux NVIDIA drivers work fine with the pass-through that Illumos does. So my question would be, is that something to be expected with the Windows drivers that tells me I need Corvin's patches in Illumos for this to work? Or is there something else I need to know about the Windows drivers
That's
for NVIDIA cards, being picky about when they allow pass-through and when they are not allowing pass-through?
you said there's no display, right? Like there is no display connected.
This display is not used. This is really just for compute.
Yeah. Maybe you should try using like a display dongle that just activates the GPU on boot.
Well, as I
Maybe it
said,
doesn't
in a
expect
Linux
the
VM, it just works.
yeah. Maybe the driver on Windows expects the GPU to be connected to something for it to
I see.
initialize.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
And that's a Windows VM on a Lumos?
Yes, that's
Cool. Got it.
technically it's OmniOS.
OmniOS, yeah.
I mean, if the Linux driver as a guest OS works, but the Windows driver does not, that sounds like a problem with the Windows driver. And
Yes.
unfortunately, I'm not sure how we can fix that.
I was just wondering whether that was something that someone already ran into that maybe Corvin's patches have fixed.
Well, hopefully it's the blunt instrument problem that Alexi described, which is simply, hey, it's probing for a connected display and doesn't know what to do without that. But that's just something to try.
Corvin hasn't been here in a while, did he?
He has not. Absolutely not. No.
Well, I can maybe just email him and ask him if he has any
Indeed.
idea.
I'd love to hear from him, and he's absolutely welcome to join in. Patrick M. Welcome.
I would say see if you can get anybody over at NVIDIA's attention, but I strongly suspect that anybody over at NVIDIA is going to say, buy our $10,000 card for GTFO.
That's generally their policy, is it not? But well, what can you name the card? Is that fair game?
I can't name the card exactly. I can just tell you that it's probably one of the $10,000 kind.
If we're talking about the professional compute cards, then yeah, maybe talk to them because those should have support for it, and they really should be wanting to sell those things. I mean, I know the consumer grade cards, they have not been as wanting to sell because they're using all the chips for the compute stuff lately, as well as even when they were still selling a lot of more of the gaming cards, they have, let's say, strongly discouraged the use for compute workloads because they really wanted you to buy that card that costs 10 to 20 times as much.
Thank you, middle managers. Yes.
Yeah, pretty obvious.
If it's a compute card, it should work fine without a display. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, Hans, I hope that helps. And do reach out to Corvin. I very much would love to have him return and give us an update. A lot has certainly taken place since he last joined. That said, Alexi, you have EDK2 news. You're back in the saddle.
Yeah, I am going to submit a patch soon for EDK2. Like, I'm gonna update it to 2026.02. There's a new version, and since people need the older versions, because newer versions of EDK2 they broke Windows support and they removed the 32-bit builds. No, not with full Windows support. They broke support for some older versions of Windows, like Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008. We are gonna have to include older EDK2 on the repos. Probably. I'm gonna just make a separate package in case people want that.
Okay. And
Yeah,
yeah, people are pretty vocal about their sort of pet versions of EDK2.
yeah,
Um,
and I'm probably also gonna add a new platform for the ARM Morello boards, which the cool ones that have Cherry BSD there.
oh, nice. Yeah, I'm sure that and that will definitely get the attention of the foundation and friends because Cambridge has been working on that project for, I don't know, 10 to 20 years. Morello
Yeah,
slash
there's apparently support
great.
for those cherry boards in
Mm-hmm.
EDK2, and yep, let's just add the package for them. It's
Are
gonna
they
be pretty easy
currently rolling
because
their
it's
own or using U-boot or what? Do you know?
I have no clue what are they doing because I've not really researched much about those boards, but
Okay.
I see an EDK2 package for them.
Okay.
It's their source code for it, so why not we add it to as a
Oh,
package?
oh, I see. Okay, got it. Got it. That they would definitely reach out to the Brooks Davis of the world. They probably have some requests or suggestions or at least gratitude for that. So, him and David Chisnell and others who have been working on this for literally as long as I can remember. So, uh, yeah, if you're not familiar with those folks, I'm happy to put you in touch with them. Great. That is fantastic. Thinking to add a package. Uh, Let me just get the notes
There's
right.
also a risk. We can also add
Risk
a Risk
five.
5 support, but let's probably not.
Well, is EDK2 Risk 5 a thing? That would be kind of cool if
Yeah,
it's even a
it is
thing.
a thing.
It is a
It is
thing.
a
Oh my
thing, but
gosh.
it's for I believe like Risk 5 development, like latest development stuff.
Hmm.
Because they're like Risk 5 standards, and the current maintained Risk 5 ETK2 is probably going to only work on emulators or on pretty low power latest development boards because they're they're there are new standards of Risk 5 every couple of months or something
Yep. Yep.
or so. Yeah.
Hopefully, at
So
some point,
and
that
this
will
is for
slow
the
down.
this is okay. This is for 4 months ago.
Uh, I'd argue they're hoping it will speed up. And that was a warning from a power architecture talk in
There is
Vienna where it's like they're going to
also for
fragment. Go
Lungson.
ahead.
I'm actually interested in Lungson a lot, but that requires a custom version of GC or LVM, and compiling EDK2 of LVM is quite an adventure. So let's not focus on that for now.
Well, not for now,
But I
but
am
what
very
is the word? What is the status of that? Because maybe that's the future for true sanity in the long
status
term.
is I could make it compile like half of the code, but it just kept erroring out on random files for no reason, and I
Okay,
don't
noted.
I don't want to deal with that for now.
No, no, fair enough. Totally fair enough. But that's
Like, yeah,
do have it on a little post-it note on the wall there. If it someday half the code built on Clang. How's that coming on Lumos, boys? Hans and
How's
Andrew.
what coming
L
along?
Clang LLVM.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we have a copy of Flying.
Do you
We've
build
had
the
a copy
OS
of.
with it?
No, we
I have
don't.
no idea. I don't think so.
We
Well, it was a
don't.
pretty clear no from Hans. I think even OpenBSD pulled it off. Yeah, give it a try someday. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
Just think.
last I had looked, we had to even have a special version of the compiler for GCC, I thought.
Really.
Am I still right about that, Hans?
Well, there are, I believe, a handful of patches, if even that many.
That I'm defining that as
Yeah.
special version. If you're having to patch it, then
Yes, I believe there are a few patches that were added to support stuff that we want to do in the kernel, mostly for debuggability and observability.
Good
And
reasons.
I don't really think that there's anything that prevents us from doing LLVM other than there's zero interest in it and no clear benefit that would justify the effort.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
If someone had the need, I'm fairly sure it can be done. But it'll be some work, and maybe LLVM will need a couple of patches too.
Cool. Yes, thank you, Patrick, for a link on Cherry. They do have, I guess, a program for boards being available, and those have been demonstrated at various events. Cool. Anything else, Alexei?
I don't know for now. I'm just looking at the ETK2 platforms, all the
Yep.
available ones. There's not a lot. There's not actually a
Interesting.
lot of stuff. There's some
So
evaluation boards.
I noticed they have like monthly development calls and triage calls. I thought I'd try to drop into one.
Oh,
Um, I don't, I'll let you know what I find.
okay. Send me a
There
link.
Yeah, they do have a public calendar. Let me try to find that.
should the question of serious interest have a question mark, not a full stop?
Oh, yeah. That's how I read it from Hans, but sure, I'll upgrade that, and you have document access if you like. Let me try to get that EDK2 list. EDK2
Because it doesn't sound like there is a
calendar.
serious interest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, that's a statement. Question of serious interest. Okay, here in chat is the EDK2 calendar. Next Wednesday, depending on your definition of Wednesday, will be a bug triage for Asian time zones. I'll
Okay.
put in the document here. But yeah, it's kind of been a question of like, take me to your leader. Who's driving the ship? Why is EDK2 somewhat frustrating across the board? EDK2 calendar. So for those who do not have enough calls on their weekly schedule, here are a few more. Welcome, Hazem. How are you doing, and what news do you have to report? Yes, I'm cornering you and broadsiding you.
Um, just going, nothing much. CFT went good. Got a few bugs here and there, but mostly okay.
Okay, so you have a formal call for testing for what could be the first version of Sylve?
Yeah, it is kind of formal. I'm trying to get a port committed, but yeah.
And what's this about a website? Is it sylve.io? I hope I got that right. Let's take a peek.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We're using
I,
IOs.
is hey,
We shouldn't be
Daniel went with
using IOs
Zelta.space. Why shouldn't you use IO? It's nice and short. I will grant you that.
because IO is a country code for a country that doesn't exist anymore, which means it's scheduled to be removed from the TLDs.
Is it? Same with SU?
Yes.
Okay. So you have an attractive website and you've got the key features in there. Oop, you got Zelta and OpenZFS in there for the win. You've got libvirt, nice. Backed by builders. Who is IP Technics, if I may?
Oh, there's this company in Dubai who started deploying Sylve very early on
Cool.
to some of their customers. So they're pretty cool.
Nice, nice. Foundation, your company. And thank you for being up in front, well, below the fold, but that's okay on licensing. There are so many bait and switch rug pull options out there, which I hope this will never, ever, ever be. Production help, fine. GitHub, made in India, a little pride there, love it. Okay, well, what form does the call for participation for testing take place? Is that in a news feed here, maybe blog? I'm gonna play
There's
dumb user
documentation
here.
there. It's just there's no specific thing that I want people to test out. So I figured, people can just try everything out if they can, because the documentation is there. So,
Okay. Pro tip, if you've got just a few minutes, throw in a simple blog post about hey, call for testing while building a port. That would be probably better than no stories published yet. Ooh, this looks good on docs. ZFS first, that's a phrase I haven't heard, but I love it. Getting started. Okay, so to whom it may concern, the wait appears to be over or ending. Thank you, Hazem, for all of your hard work on this, and I hope everyone's in agreement with me on that. Get out. It's beautiful. Great. So yeah, shoot out a blog post if you can, and everyone here, if you're interested, please take a peek. I'm excited. And anything else at this time, Hazem?
No, I'm just chilling.
Cool. Okay. Patrick, do you have any topics? Welcome.
Hey, how we doing?
We're
More
good.
than anything, I'm doing a bit of bhyve work, and I just figured this would be a good place to hang around.
What type of work and what is going well, what is not going well, if I may?
It's just I haven't really played with bhyve that much in the past, but I suddenly had, all of a sudden a new client. They had a machine just go completely on them before I was even in the office, and we need to go to it's a estimating system running on Debian, and like I figured out a couple other things, but I've got a couple of things I need to work out. I mean, this is way below everybody's pay grade on this call, so I won't
We have pay
with it.
grades? Don't worry about that.
You would be shocked how low my pay grade is for this.
But yeah, it was just yeah, I think they got rid of the old IT guy for being kind of a is I don't think he had the moral fiber that they needed in that company, and I think that was a one finger on the way out the door.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What were they virtualizing with? Was it bare metal Debian or like Hyper-V or something else?
No, well, they said it can be done with QEMU, and it comes as a VDMK, and so QEMU image, guess just push it over to raw, I guess, and then I'll just try and spin it up on bhyve.
Right. So they've got QCOW2 or VMDK?
It comes as a VMDK. I've already
Yeah.
made a QCOW2 of it.
So
Of
I
the
asked
image.
because, and that is the way, but is there any risk that officially converting it violates their like support agreement or license or some silliness, some
No,
non-technical factor?
no, it's based on Debian, and they actually recommend like just make it QCOW2, and excuse me,
Perfect.
just spin it up on QEMU, and of course for speed and acceleration reasons, I want to do it on FreeBSD, so I'm hoping to get the best performance out of bhyve on it rather than QEMU.
The one, yes, that should treat you well. The one concern might be that it is both GPart and EFI boot friendly as opposed to designed for decades-old DOS platforms.
I'm
Windows
hoping so
platform.
myself.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing.
It's meant to be a modern version of Debian, so
Okay.
that shouldn't be an issue, but who knows?
One thing to try is to simply mount it as an MD device, memory backed, and run GPart. Just if you shoot us or the group or me that output, you can learn a lot really quickly in that first few seconds there.
Say it
So I
again.
can mount it with let's just I'll throw some syntax in here. I've been doing a lot of this lately for reasons that I'll get to in the coming days and weeks. mdconfig -af Debian and raw, which will give you like MD0 by default, and just do gpart show
Oh, and then we just
MD0 and gpart show-L for the labels.
okay.
That
See what's under the hood.
It's like, how did they lay it out? And you'll learn a lot really, really quickly right there.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, and don't ask me how I know this. Two, yeah, let me know if you have any questions further from there, because yeah, it's a thing.
Sounds like a formerly sore toe.
So I will give just a
Thank you.
teaser because I got working just before hitting an airplane to 12 hours in LA yesterday. Make FS and make image based single board computing images for FreeBSD with root on ZFS such that you take your Fort 64 or your, in theory, Raspberry Pi, and you have all modern features with very little pain and suffering as opposed to the classic, U-boot handling and all that. So that's an active discussion and with hope. So maybe that will be joyous. I will report back, but I've gotten through the biggest headaches on that. Anyway, does anyone have other final topics, questions, ideas, concerns, funny jokes, upcoming events? I think it's a pretty quiet schedule this year. Trolling Patrick, trolling Patrick, trolling Patrick. Patrick, are there any events coming up? Anything to think about?
Funny, it's funny you should ask. In July, obviously, we have BSD CAN, which is
June or
coming
July?
along swimmingly.
I think June.
We have some really good.
Okay, I'm going to have to go to sleep now because I need to
Okay.
wake up at 4 a.m.
Ooh,
Oh, you too. I did that yesterday. Take care,
Have a good
Alexi.
night.
Keep
Good
up the
luck.
good work.
Yep.
So yes, I believe
Ah,
BSD CAN is
see you
June
soon.
17th through 20 something, and it's exciting and should be awesome. And yeah,
Yeah, get really excited about it.
just north of you, Andrew, just north of you, with lots of ZFS. Just saying, just saying. Anyway,
The
rest of
problem
the
is
year.
how far north.
Oh, if just miss a turn heading north and we'll be there. It's like Ottawa, right there. Anyway, well, thank you, everyone. I say we quit while we're ahead. And Andrew, would you like the honors?
I'll like and subscribe.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the information about the IO TLD. I'll just drop that in there for enlightenment because it's a very valid point you're making. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
Boom. There it is.